This is my first video in this devlog series. I decided to make a game because I enjoy playing them. My favorite genres are strategy games and collectible card games, but I have always dreamed of creating a game by myself. I used to create maps for Warcraft 3 in the past, but using a game engine seemed to me an impossible task. Time went on, and I decided to return to my dream. Unreal Engine had been on my mind since those days, and now, when it became that open to unprofessional people, it was definitely a tool of choice for me. I went focused on roguelite deck builders genre, with games like Slay the Spire, Vault of the Void, and others. On the other hand, I liked strategical passion of Hearthstone Battlegrounds and similar games. The idea was quite simple. Cards you receive are spells that you learn while climbing the cursed tower. My first step was to create a system to keep track of all properties cards would have. I created a structured data and added variables that seemed fitting. The next step was prototyping of Battlefield. My first enemies were skeletons. There were no card library at that moment because I had to test the viability of the game process. At that moment, I've met my first problem. The battle was too long, and using a card seemed not rewarding. I found a good solution for this with some kind of progression during battle. So you have cards of 4 different elements that are vulnerable to ones and strong against the others. When your hero uses a certain card, you receive progression in its element. The more you get, the more powerful your spells become. This move allowed me to think of cards investing in this progression or slowing it down for the opponent. Of course, there should be a menu where you rest between battles and think out your next steps. I've created a simple list of object classes and built a card library around it. It seemed obvious to me that a limit is needed for cards used in battles. In my first attempt, this limit was equal to 5. These 5 abilities are to be used in the battle one by one, repeating again and again. You and your opponent change turns until one of you is dead. Rather simple. It took me some time to create a basic set of cards with some variations. These cards had different effects because I needed basic logic to use later on. This included past turn logic, shuffling of cards, and counting on element strength. I used free AI image generation tools to fill my cards because, unfortunately, I have no experience in digital art aside of Photoshop. And now, I was struck by another problem. A dynamic description for a card type. For example, each card have 10 levels, and the numbers it uses differ from level to level. But I had to write a description for each level of each card, right? Actually, no. I created a function that uses text formatting to add numbers inside the card description equal to its current level. This actually gave me a lot of flexibility in card design. At this moment, I decided that it is time to implement Map of Tower and connect all elements of it with drawable lines. This took me some time, but there were plenty of tutorials to help me. In fact, there's an invisible canvas behind map elements, which is filled with lines dependent of elements' coordinates every tick. After this, I started adding some loot chests and events to the map. It seemed that it will make each run different. Actually, these events are the same type of objects as enemies, but I implemented a certain logic when you pick them on the map. Choose one of 3 sounded to me as a good solution to be set as a reward. There would definitely be passive upgrades, I thought, so I started creating one. The case is, they trigger after being chosen and change heroes' stats. The whole build at this time seemed playable enough for for me to take a break. I decided to write ideas in free time and implement them next time I open this project. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel to stay tuned and write your thoughts about the game down in the comments.